Surrounded by people, I still felt like I stood alone. The room was loud, clinking glasses, booming laughter, the hum of conversation echoing off the walls. It was one of those networking events I forced myself to attend, a chance to connect, to build relationships. But as I stood there with a drink in my hand, the noise around me only sharpened the quiet inside. The clink of glasses became the symbol of that night. Each sound reminded me how hollow the room felt, how surface level the smiles seemed. Business cards were exchanged like currency, not connection. Every handshake was firm, polished, but none of them reached the part of me that carried the real weight. I caught myself thinking, no one really gets what this feels like. Because the truth was, while the room was crowded, I felt more isolated than ever. My chest tightened, my jaw clenched, and I found myself glancing at the door more than the people in front of me. I didn't want to admit it, but the loneliness wasn't about being unseen. It was about carrying too much alone. Surrounded by people, I still felt like I stood alone. And maybe you felt that too, in a room full of people, but with no one to really share the truth with. Leadership isolation grows quietly, almost invisibly. On the outside, you look steady. You make decisions, sign papers, lead meetings. But on the inside, you're carrying weight no one else can see. In business, it feels relentless. Every client relies on you. Every number depends on you. And when things go wrong, you convince yourself you have to handle it alone, because admitting the struggle might look like weakness. At home, the pressure doesn't ease. I didn't want to worry my wife with the details of client churn or financial dips. I told myself protecting her meant staying silent, but silence only built distance. The more I carried alone, the lonelier the house felt. Culturally, the weight doubled. In my background, admitting struggle wasn't encouraged. Strength meant silence. Pride meant privacy. So even when I longed for someone to understand, I swallowed the words, carried the weight, and smiled like everything was fine. Do you know that feeling? Do you ever hide the weight, thinking no one else could really understand? Do you ever keep silent, even when you crave connection? I wish someone had told me, strength grows when I share the load. Because the truth is, leadership isn't about carrying everything. It's about connection. Isolation doesn't make you stronger. It only makes the weight heavier. I thought leadership meant carrying it all myself. That thought nearly broke me. And the clink of glasses at that networking event echoed louder than the conversations themselves. Each sound reminding me how alone I really felt. The breaking point came in my own whisper. No one really gets what this feels like. My body echoed the loneliness. Shoulders slumped, breath shallow, jaw tight. The drink in my hand felt heavier than it should have, like it carried all the silence I'd swallowed. That was my crisis cue. So I reached for a reset. The first reset method was breathwork. As the room buzzed, I inhaled deeply, imagining I was breathing in support, connection, presence. On the exhale, I pictured releasing isolation. Inhale support, exhale loneliness. With each breath, the walls of silence cracked a little. The second reset method was journaling. That night, I wrote one question. Who could I share one truth with this week? The names came slowly. A trusted colleague, an old friend, my wife. Just writing them down reminded me that isolation wasn't a permanent state. Connection was possible, but it required a choice. And then the symbol, the clinking glass, shifted. It no longer mocked me. It became a reminder. Connection doesn't come from crowds. It comes from sharing honestly with one. By the end of the night, I noticed the shift in my body. My chest lifted, my breath slowed, my shoulders loosened, and I sent a text to a peer I trusted. Coffee this week? Need to talk. That one message felt like laying down a part of the weight. The truth that carried me was clear. Strength grows when I share the load. That reset reframed leadership for me. Strength wasn't in silence, it was in connection. The mantra I hold now is simple. Strength grows when I share the load. Opening up transforms isolation into strength. The clink of glasses, once a symbol of hollow noise, became something else. Now, it reminds me of shared tables, of moments where honesty creates real connection. Sharing the load gave me strength back. Let's practice this together. Take a breath right now. Inhale slowly, imagining you're breathing in support. Exhale, imagining loneliness leaving with the air. Repeat it a few times. Let the breath remind you, connection is possible. Now grab a pen and paper. Write this prompt. Who could I share one truth with this week? Let a name come to mind. Don't overthink it. Maybe it's a colleague, a mentor, a family member. Next, commit to one action. Send a message. Ask for coffee. Open a conversation. Not to unload everything, but to share one truth. At work, this practice reminds you that collaboration builds resilience. At home, it opens space for your family to understand you more fully. And culturally, it reframes strength, from silence to honesty. Even one breath, one message, one truth shared can break isolation. The clinking glasses don't sting the way they used to. They still echo, but now they remind me that connection is possible, not in the crowd, but in the honest conversations that follow. True leadership connects, not isolates. That's the mantra I hold now. Leadership isn't about carrying everything alone. It's about knowing when to share the load. So let me leave you with this reflection. Who could you share one truth with this week? Write it down. Reach out. Let the strength return. Strength grows when I share the load. And tonight, I'm grateful. Grateful for the reminder that honesty builds bridges where isolation builds walls.